Hey, sweet friends. Today we are talking all the things, not all the things, but key things that I wish younger me would have known that would have saved me so much guilt and shame and heartache and would have given me the results that I was looking for in the health space. Now, if you are new here, I'm Molly. I'm a registered nurse and a mind-body wellness coach for women in general, but women 35 plus who are about to go into perimenopause, are in perimenopause, or going through postmenopause. And today this was really on my heart because I was thinking about just how much mental energy, physical energy, emotional energy I spent in my life just trying to feel better in my body, to look better in my body, to feel better emotionally and mentally. And there are just these key things that I really wanted to tell you about today that I hope resonate with you, and I hope just help settle your heart a little bit today. And I hope they give you hope that if you have felt stuck, or like you have tried a million things and you can't stick with them, or they didn't have the results that you wanted to have long term, maybe they worked really well to start with and now they don't. I want you to hopefully hear in this message things that bring you hope that it can get better. You are not a broken human. You are not alone. And there's just so much that has been kind of stacked against us as women in this society that has tried to keep us small and skinny and unhealthy. And today I want to shed some light on what I wish I would have known. If you are new here and you want to get more information like this, please hit that subscribe button and let's dive in. One of the things that I wish I would have known is that my body needs different things throughout my cycle. Energy fluctuates. In the second half of your cycle, your luteal phase, you actually need more carbs. Like your body is doing a lot of work and that requires a lot of energy, and carbs are really helpful during this time. And so I spent so much of my life just trying to cut out carbs or decrease my carbs when my body was like just asking for help during that time. And I would white knuckle it, and I would then like binge on carbs because I was so hungry and my body was just trying to help me out. So I wish I had known how much my cycle has an impact on what I eat, my energy, and what my body needs to support it, and that my cycle is my cycle. So as women, there are kind of some typical energy fluctuations that you can look for during your cycle, but every woman is different. And so one of the things that I coach on in my sessions is I want you to get to know your specific body. How does your body react throughout your cycle? Do you notice that you have more cravings at certain parts of the cycle than others? Do you notice that you have more energy, that you're able to do, maybe you feel like working out more at certain parts in your cycle? Get to know you, because that is really, really crucial to being able to stay consistent with things. If you know that your body is going to act differently throughout your cycle, and then as you go through perimenopause, through postmenopause, when hormones are fluctuating dramatically in perimenopause, and then postmenopause when our estrogen and progesterone are at the lowest that they're going to be, when you get really good at listening to your own body and what it needs that day, you are going to be able to stay consistent with things like workouts and nutrition, because you're not doing the same thing every day. You're listening to what your body needs and then each day acting accordingly. This also was really helpful for me for things like PMS and bloating and my mental health during my cycle, because when I learned to actually support my body and what it needs throughout my month, my body felt supported, and things like bloating and PMS and all of those type symptoms decreased because my body wasn't searching for energy in other ways. My body was getting what it needed from me, from the food that I ate, from the movement that I did, and it helped out with my symptoms. Okay, next step. Our next area, sleep. Now, we've heard it a million times that sleep is so good for us. But what I want you to hear that I think not enough people talk about is that sleep makes the biggest difference in my anxiety the next day and what foods I crave the next day, or if I'm feeling like if I'm craving more and more foods. If I do not get a good night of sleep, I am more anxious the next day. I also, a lot of times, don't feel hungry in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I'm ravenous. This is because when you don't get enough sleep, your body doesn't reset its hormones as well when you don't sleep. And you are more likely to have less stress resilience, where you're you're going to probably see a fin come in here. You're less likely to be able... Your vacuum? Hold, please. Okay, we'll see how much I get of this done. I didn't tell you that I have two wonderful humans. So I have two tiny human boys that are wonderful, and also, they've got their own agenda. All right, so sleep. So big for anxiety and whether or not I feel myself like spiraling in my thoughts the next day, and how well I feel like with my hunger hormones, whether or not I'm craving a bunch of foods in the afternoon, and for me, when I think about what it is about sleep, like if you don't get enough sleep, your body is looking for energy the next day, and food is a good way to get your energy, right? And so if I had known how big of an impact it makes on mainly my anxiety, I would have prioritized my sleep sooner. Okay, next, strength training, short, intense cardio bursts, coupled with actually taking and loving your rest and recovery days, is the actual path to giving me the body that I wanted. Now, I originally, in growing up, had wanted to be as skinny as possible and have six-pack abs and be as toned as possible. And what I can tell you...
I have to go pee. Can I go pee?
Hold, please.
Can I go pee?
All right, take 17. What I wish I would have known after spending years and years trying to do hours and hours of cardio over and over again, running on the treadmill and running outside, and so much cardio. I wish I would have known that to feel confident in my body, the way that I want to look, the way that I want to feel emotionally and mentally, strength training, short bursts of cardio, and recovery days that are made up of soul movement. So walking, jumping on a mini trampoline, yoga / just stretching. That is a way to get the body shape that we are looking for the most part as women. I have always wanted to feel toned in my body. And toned comes from muscle. We have to have muscle. And what I talk a lot with my clients about is not focusing on your weight, because weight is such a finicky, poopy measure of your health, and your weight can increase when you get muscle, and muscle is the point. Muscle is the point. And your heart health is the point. And so when we do things like strength training and high intensity interval training for 20 minutes or less, two of each of those sessions twice a week. I don't know if I said that right. So you do strength training twice a week, and you do short burst, high intensity cardio twice a week, and then the rest of the days are your soul movement, so that your body can recover and actually repair those muscles. That's where the muscle strength comes, and where the the toned body comes from is in the repair days, not the break days. I wish I had known that. And what I also wish I would have told myself earlier is to focus on your mental and emotional health gains instead of weight and instead of how your body looks. To start with, because you are going to notice almost instantly changes in your mental and emotional well-being when you start moving your body and exercising. And start so small. 10 minutes a day, consistently, not perfectly, because the biggest piece of it is that we have to convince ourselves that we can actually do this, that we can stick to something long term. And a lot of the reason that people don't stick with things long term is because they don't see progress. And if your main way of seeing progress is the weight on the scale, no wonder you're going to give up. And it's not your fault. That's what we have been trained by society to look at. What I would tell my younger self is, I want you to tell me after you work out today, after you do your 10-minute walk or your strength training or whatever it is, tell me how you feel emotionally, mentally after you do that workout. And I want you to pay attention to that. I want you to pay attention to how you feel on days when you're able to get your movement in versus days that you're not able to get your movement in. Not from a place of judgment, from a place of curiosity and awareness. I feel better mentally and emotionally when I move my body intentionally, even for 10 minutes. Even for 10 minutes. That's what I started out doing. Now I'm up to 15 to 20 minutes, and that's where I'm capping it, but I work my butt off during those 15 to 20 minutes on my hard workout days. But I wish I would have known that. I wish I would have known that it doesn't take hours on a treadmill, that I can actually enjoy and feel good when I'm working out. I can listen to throwback tunes from the 90s in order to have my workout be enjoyable and make me want to lift heavy and do all those things. And I have actually seen results. I've actually seen the results that I was looking for. I wish I wouldn't have spent so much time on that in my life. Okay, next. Results that last never happen overnight. I'm going to say that one more time. Results that last never happen overnight. And if somebody is trying to tell you in just 12 weeks, your entire body and your mind and your nutrition and everything is going to change, you're going to look like this body that they show on the screen that's perfect, has abs, all those things, if they tell you that, they're full of crap. Especially in midlife. Why? Because there are so many fluctuations when we go through perimenopause, when we are late 30s, 40s, up to 50s. There are so many fluctuations that it takes longer for us to notice changes in our body. Yes, you can absolutely see changes over the months, but if anybody tells you that in 12 weeks you're going to have the body that you've always dreamed of, they are just trying to sell you something. And I tell my clients over and over and over again, this is not going to happen overnight. Quick fixes do not happen overnight. Even when people are on things like Ozempic, if they are being monitored and taken care of right on that medication, they should still, it still takes time to see the results that they're looking for, and they still should be doing things like strength training and short burst cardio to help out their heart and their muscles and their bones so they don't have any detrimental effects on those down the road. And that stuff still takes time. If you do it the right way, if you do it the healthy way, if the way that you want to do it is to actually have long-term results, ones that are going to stick with you and not just peter off, and not just like with a lot of workout routines and everything that I've done in the past. Sure, I saw results in the first while, but I did not keep those because long-term results take a while. They take a while to be sustainable. You have to make it a part of your life and something that you can mold in the chaos of your life. Otherwise, it's not going to stick. We have to factor in our real life in order for things to stick. what I will tell you is that small changes done consistently will change your life forever. Small changes done consistently will change your life forever. Everything that I have done that has been sustainable, that has made a difference in my mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, all of those things, all of that, those areas of health have been done by small changes that I have done consistently, not perfectly. And the reason that it's been sustainable and been a long-term success for me is because small changes are what I can manage in my busy life. You saw my tiny human come out here. He had to go pee. I have to leave. I have to go do that. I have a special needs human who I'm taking to ABA therapy and school and doing parent training and all of these things. I have to be able to fit it into my big, busy, beautiful life. And small changes done consistently change your life forever. It does not have to be some grand gesture. Most of the times when it's like that, it doesn't stick because that doesn't fit into your real life. Okay. The healthiest you will ever be is when you stop dieting and focus on adding in instead. You start focusing on just adding in protein and carbs/fiber. Yes, carbs. If we cancel out carbs, you do not get fiber because fiber is carbs. And carbs/fiber feed your brain. They're the energy that we need in our lives. They also feed your gut, and your gut is where a huge portion of your serotonin is. That is your happy hormone. Your body needs carbs and fiber. And adding in nourishing fats and flavor and fun. You give yourself permission to have fun foods. We don't do cheat days in my program. Why? Because that in and of itself creates a scarcity mindset around the food that you're going to eat. And this takes a while because we have been conditioned to have good and bad foods. And so when we have the quote unquote bad foods, we binge on them, right? Because we feel like, oh, I'm only going to get it for this period of time, so I better eat all of it because this is my only chance. Whereas what I would tell my younger self is if you allow yourself to have those foods and do it in small increments, because I know this is scary for you. You're afraid that you're going to gain weight, but trust the process. If you allow yourself to have things like chocolate or cake or cookies, and you just allow yourself to have them, and you tell yourself, I can always come back and have more if I want it, and you also feed yourself during the day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner with the support squad is what I call it in my program. It's the protein, carbs/fiber, fats, and fun/flavor. If you feed yourself breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you allow yourself to have things that were once triggering to you, and I also caveat this with, please make sure that you see a food, like disordered eating therapist if you need one, because we were not raised to think this way. But if you allow yourself to have those foods, you start building this trust with yourself. Like, oh, I can have it. If I want more, I can always come back and get it. So it takes away that scarcity. And it just becomes a part of your life. Like, it doesn't become a special event in your life. Like, yes, there are still special events like celebrations, birthdays, all those things. But in my house right now, I have chocolate. I have ice cream. I have my main thing is chocolate. Sorry about the car. It's chocolate. And I have it in my house. I just go grab it if I want it and I move on with my day. It doesn't take up all of this mental and emotional energy, and I don't feel guilt and shame when I have it. And that took a while. Like I said earlier, these things don't happen overnight. But that has made the most difference to me. Feeding myself, not restricting, adding in. I look at my plate in the morning and I think, okay, how can I add in more protein, more fiber, more, nourishing fats? How can I make this more supportive for my body? I eat regular meals. I'm not waiting until the end of the day to eat anymore. I'm not skipping lunch because I think, oh, if I just skip this meal and I don't feel hungry, I'm going to lose weight, because that does not work. starving yourself in the name of trying to be skinnier, your body is smarter than that. Your body is smarter than that. It may work for a while. You may lose weight. You may look the way that you want to look for a while. But what happens when real life happens? When you start to eat those regular foods again, your body's going to hold on to them, because what you just put it through, a diet, makes your body feel like it is in famine. This is a DNA thing back from our ancestors when we were just trying to survive out in the wilderness. And so when you start to eat again, your body's going to hold on to that because it's worried that you're going to do what you just did again. It doesn't understand that you're doing it on purpose. It thinks that you ran out of food and it's trying to protect you. And so instead of restricting, we add in. And when we add in, if we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I recommend to my clients that we eat within a half an hour of waking up, or have some kind of, I have a protein coffee. I call it my everything coffee because it's got a half a scoop of protein. It's got creatine and collagen in it. Do not start any supplements without checking with your doctor first. And I always talk about that in my program. But that's what I have within a half an hour, because fasting doesn't work great for women long term. What? That was another thing that I would tell my younger self, because I tried intermittent fasting so many times. Your body needs fuel. And if you just eat like we ate years and years ago, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we didn't worry about intermittent fasting, we just had a supportive breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you stop eating after dinner because you are satisfied, because you have fed yourself all day long, you technically are fasting from after dinner until breakfast. That amount of fasting does what we want to do in intermittent fasting. It helps cleanse out the toxins in our body. It gives our body some time and space to not have food in its belly so that we can digest it during that time period. And then before bed, our bellies aren't full of food. So we actually get a really good night of sleep because our body's not worried about digesting its food. It's worried about detoxing your body. It's worried about repairing your cells. It's worried about cleansing the hormone, or like resetting your hormones as you sleep. If we just went back to eating the way that we normally had eaten before, the timing of what we had normally eaten, but we feed ourselves supportive meals, you are less likely to binge on foods, because your hunger hormones and your fullness hormones are more satisfied throughout the day. And so you're not trying to white knuckle it throughout the day. And when you have things, like I recommend to my clients, like if you're going to have dessert, awesome. Love that for you. Have it with your dinner or close to your dinner. Maybe eat half of the dinner that you were going to eat, save the other half for lunch tomorrow, and have your dessert with your dinner, because your dessert or your dinner probably has protein and fiber and fats that are going to help your blood sugar not spike so much when you have your dessert. There are things that you can do that help out your body that do not require you restricting. And when you build this healthy relationship with food, instead of this scarcity mindset and always trying to just think about what's good food, what's bad food, what can I eat, what shouldn't I eat, oh my gosh. When you build this healthy mindset around food and supporting your body thanks you by then letting go of unnecessary weight that is holding on, because it holds on to that as a protective mechanism. Not because you are broken, not because you don't have willpower, probably because you've been on a lot of diets, because that's what our world tells you to do. When you start feeding your body and you start moving your body in ways that are very supportive of your muscles and your bones and your heart, and we're not doing these crazy workouts for hours on end, and we're just fitting it into our big, full busy lives, your body thanks you. Your body feels safe to let go of things.